Hey there, this is Carrie with the Sammons fam. We are a down-to-earth family from Central Ohio. We both left our traditional careers several years ago and decided to say yes to a more organic way of living with our kiddos. We have loved journeying through life with a different rhythm. For our vocation, we work together sharing the gift of natural wellness. And whenever it seems like God is opening up the door for us to join Him on a grand adventure, we say yes. This is our joyful journey. Hey there, friends. It's Carrie Sammons here in New Albany still, and sharing episode 3 on our Sammons fam adventure coming up, what we're calling Mission to Madagascar. And today's episode is actually going to be power-packed. I took notes because there's so much I want to cover and I want to make sure I kind of streamline it. But I'm talking today on how to pack. How would you pack for a big adventure like this? Not only are we going to be gone for almost a month, but we're going on the other side of the globe to Madagascar, and we're traveling to Madagascar during what's actually considered their winter. The month of July, thankfully, is actually their coolest month, and it's their dry season. But because of that, we're going to be traveling to several different parts of Madagascar, and we need to have things for all the different seasons, right? So in the capital city where we're going to be for the first week, it's going to be beautiful and sunny during the day, but it's going to get down to cooler temperatures in the evening. And then when we go up to the coast, it's probably going to be warm and more humid, and we're probably going to be wearing shorts, t-shirts the whole time. So how is it that we're packing for 5 people, for a big family that's traveling and going to be gone for a month? And so, hi Julie, my friend Julie that was in Madagascar last year just popped on and said that she froze last year. So that is a good reminder to us that I keep telling my kids, yes, we need to have things like kind of multi-seasons. And at the same time, we don't want to be traveling around the globe with crazy amounts of luggage because we're not moving there. I mean, it's one thing if we were to be moving there for a year, then we'd be talking about this in a whole different way. But because we're just traveling as tourists, kind of, you know, we're going to be going as volunteers and helping a lot of different capacities. But we want to make sure we have all the right things, but we don't want to be cursing under our breath every other minute, like, oh my gosh, why did we bring all this stuff? And I'm here to tell you that on some trips, Gary and I both tend to be overpackers when we're like, oh, you know, the weight limit is 50 pounds per suitcase. Let's just throw in these extra things just in case we want to wear them. When we were in Italy 2 weeks ago, it was kind of that mentality, like, oh, you know, we don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's going to be cool and rainy according to the forecast. And then we're going to go down to the southern area where it's hot. So we'll just throw it all in. And both of us after that trip said, we've got to really pare it down and be extra conscientious that we are not overpacking for this trip, especially since there's 5 of us, okay? So what we're going to talk about is making sure you, first of all, have the right luggage, and how you pack for a month. And really my whole focus on that is that every single place that we're going to make sure we have access to be able to wash our clothes and do laundry. And so I'm having more of the mentality that we're packing for 1 week and that we're bringing lots of different outfits that we can mix and match, you know, like shirts that go with every pair of pants and vice versa, so that it looks like we'll be having lots of different variety of outfits. But really we're only going to be, I'm focusing as if we're packing for 1 week, but at the same time, 1 week with a variety of weather experiences. So, and I'm proud of myself. I've actually gotten all 3 of our kids packed, and Gary and I are doing the rest of our laundry to get our own clothing packed. And then the other thing I'm going to talk about is the carry-on luggage, because we're going to be traveling, you know, around the globe with lots of different stops and with young children. What is it that you should make sure are your must-have items, the necessities that I've learned from my traveling, and what kind of bags to bring for your carry-on, I think is really important too. So, oh, Julie's even saying the hotel where we're staying will do our laundry. That is what I'm counting on. Oh, thanks, Christina. I know, isn't this a fun shirt? I just got this in, well, I guess it was last month when I was visiting my friend Leanne out in Colorado, and I felt like this described me pretty well. Okay, so the first thing that I did is I went on the Air Madagascar website, because we're actually flying one airline to get to Madagascar, and then when we're there, we're flying using the domestic flights to fly internally. Madagascar is a big country. I've mentioned this before. It's the landmass about the size of Texas, of course, in a totally different shape. And the infrastructure is not that great there. So if you're going to be driving from the capital city all the way up to Majanga, it could be about anywhere from a 13 to 15-hour drive, depending on the road conditions and potholes. And it's a really twisty, turny road. And I actually love making the drive. I've done it in the public transportation, and I love it. I think it's a cool experience for any of you that are going to go to Madagascar on your own or with just a spouse or a friend. I would encourage you to do that because it's a really great way to see the landscape. However, with 3 young children, we decided it was worth the extra expense to just fly, because now it's just going to be a 1-hour flight, okay? And then we're also going to fly from Majanga to Nosy Be. So we have several internal flights. And interestingly, thank you, Alyssa, my friend that lives there, for letting me know that the internal flights in Air Madagascar have a different lower weight limit. And I went and looked it up online, and it's actually 20 kilograms, which is equivalent to about 44 pounds. So that's where I need to make sure all of our luggage is under 44 pounds. And then even the carry-on luggage has a lower weight limit than in the United States. It's like between, I don't know, it's like between 11 and 15 pounds is what the carry-on limit. So with all of that considered, it's going to be really good for us to actually hold ourselves accountable to packing less, okay? So what I want to show you is what we're packing our kids in. We actually, okay, so this is about like making sure you have the right kind of luggage. So for my kids, we're taking this big rolly duffel suitcase bag. The reason we're taking this instead of some of our other suitcases is, if you have learned, some of the suitcases are really heavy. And so I like this, that it doesn't weigh much at all, and it still rolls and has a handle. And so we're going to pack all 3 of our kids' stuff in one bag. Okay, this is what it looks like with extra little pockets, but it's pretty roomy. You can smash a lot in there. And we've done that before. When we went to Costa Rica last summer, we packed all 3 of the kids in that bag, and it worked great. And my goal is, when we get to these locations, I always really encourage people to unpack. If you're in any kind of way that you can unpack, it's really nice to do that. When I pack, I use those luggage, those cubes, basically, so I can put all my things into nice little packing cubes. And then when I get places, I can take those packing cubes out and I can put them right into the drawers or the dressers or whatever, so it still feels like I'm unpacked. It's just nice. It makes you feel a little bit more at home. And if you're not packing so much stuff, then it's easy to pack and unpack, right? Okay, and then for me, I'm using a really similar bag. This is a duffel bag that I actually bought for my trip to Nepal 2 years ago, and it worked great. I like this one even better than the kids because it has a handle that pulls out, and it actually has, if you unzip this little thing, it doubles as a backpack. Isn't that cool? So if for some reason we need to use that, we can. I think at all of the locations we're going to be at, there's going to be other people that can help us with the bags, but sometimes it's nice to have that hands-free option, especially if you need to be making sure you're holding on to your children's hands, which is something that we're going to be, of course, really conscientious of anywhere that we travel with our young children, okay? So that's the 3 kids and me, and then Gary has a small suitcase that he's going to use. So for the family of 5, we actually are only trying to take 3 checked bags for our main necessities, okay? Then what I'm gonna show you is the extra bags, because we get 5 free checked bags because we're traveling international, and we are gonna need to bring all those because of some of the extra items that we're bringing. Let me show you this big suitcase. I bought this one recently. It's really lightweight bag, which I like because then when you're maximizing the weight for what you're packing on the inside. This is the biggest suitcase that we're gonna bring, and I'm gonna show you what it's full of. And I just weighed it, and it's like 37 pounds right now. So we actually have about, or whatever it was, I think I have about 9 or 10 pounds left that I can put in here. So here I am to show you what's really exciting. I'm excited about what's in this bag. I think I mentioned this yesterday. One of the things that we're doing when we get to the Sarabidi Maternity Center is passing out these Days for Girls kits. And these are reusable, washable, feminine hygiene kits, and they come in these darling bags. They are hand sewn by people all over the world that volunteer to make these. And it has everything that they need. And maybe I'll do another video someday just describing what Days for Girls is and this amazing ministry that's serving women all over the world and giving them freedom to not feel like they have to be trapped inside during their monthly cycle. So we got the heavy flow kits that I ordered, and we have 30 of these that we're taking to the Sarabidi Maternity Center to give as postpartum gifts for all the new moms there. And so I don't know if you can see in this suitcase, but it's like completely full, packed full. But I still have extra room that I can shove some stuff in, and that is where I'm actually planning on for a lot of the oils that we're bringing. We're taking a lot of oils to give away to the maternity center and hopefully up in Nosy Bay as well. And I'm planning on doing an aroma touch training and hopefully symphony of the cells technique for the midwives there at the maternity center, so that this is something they can use as a ministry and a gift for all the moms and all the people that work for Eden Reforestation. And those of you that know about the healing power of the oils, if you can understand this modality, that kind of helps bring your body into more balance, homeostasis. So that is one of the things that I'm hoping to teach the moms there. And then we're also teaching the midwives. And then we're going to be doing a pregnancy, birth, and babies class there too. So what I'm going to do with this suitcase is fill the extra 10 pounds that I have, is just shoving as many oils and some of these aroma touch kits that I have that we can pack and take. Now 10 pounds is going to get used up really quickly. So my hope is that with our other luggage, we can have extra weight so that we can pack in some of the other stuff. Julie, I know she's chiming in. I wish so badly that you could come. I'm so sad you can't be there. That just means that we have to plan another trip, right? Okay, so that's 4 bags, right? So mine, the kids, Gary's, and then this extra one with all the Days for Girls and some of the oil stuff. And that leaves us a whole other bag if we need it to pack some of the extras depending on how the weight goes. My assumption is that, I really want to take as many oils. I'm like, I want to max it out as much as we can bring. So we'll probably just take a smaller extra suitcase and not go all the way up to the 44 pounds, but just take as much as we can to donate and give. Because the thing about Madagascar is when you're shipping product there, you just never know if it's actually going to arrive. And it's so expensive to ship this stuff. So it's much easier to hand carry the oils and stuff like that you know that you really want to get there. Okay, so now let me move on to showing you about the CarryOn luggage, okay? So this is my CarryOn suitcase, and I read, again, you got to look at the dimensions for all the other domestic carriers that you're using, and this one says that it'll fit with Air Madagascar's rules and regulations. And I just want to show you some of my things. Like, I used to always travel with a backpack, and then I just felt like when I was traveling with my kids, like a lot of times they want to be held, and it's so much weight to carry, and then you're sweating in the airports, and sometimes you're having to run or walk very briskly in airports. And so the easiest that you can make it on yourself. So now I've learned that I've embraced the idea of taking a roll-on carry-on, and Gary always takes one of these handy dandy bags that we've gotten from doTERRA, and he'll fill this up with his book and his stuff that he likes to have on the airplane. Plus, then we get to have this with us in Madagascar for our adventuring backpack, right? And then the purse that I bring, I just went to like the local, you know, I like shop near REI and places like that. But something that's a really sleek, easy purse that is going to be durable, that I can kind of wear cross-body. I think it's really important to be able to wear a cross-body bag when you're traveling someplace that may just, you know, where you just want to be extra safe so that nobody can yank it off of your shoulder, right? And I like this size because I can unzip my bag and just put it right in here. So again, I'm not trying to juggle all sorts of different bags. Okay, so that's my tip on that. And then I like this style instead of the ones that zip in the middle and you have to open up like that. That's really a pain when you're on an airplane, when you have to get things in and out quickly, or if you're at an airport. So instead, I like the ones that have all the external zippy pockets, and this one's very lightweight and easy to roll. And so what I have in here in this top little zippy pocket are some of my most important necessities when I'm traveling and on an airplane. I have a bunch of On Guard products. So I have like the On Guard lozenges that we use every time we get on the airplane, and we all take as a family one of these On Guard soft gels to prevent any cooties and germ bugs from incubating in our bodies. And then we also have the On Guard new sanitizing spritz. I love this. We just will spray down our trays, we'll spray our hands, breathe it in. You can kind of spray your area. Everybody likes the way it smells. You'll probably end up passing it around and say, sure, everybody use this, okay? Also, I've learned that I get really stuffy on airplanes. I don't know about you, it's recycled air, and it's like it flares up my allergies, which is really weird because it's recycled air and it's not like there's a bunch of pollen on there or something. But I've learned that I travel with my Tri-Ease because it really helps to kind of just keep my airways open. And I'm going to talk tomorrow more in the episode about specifically what oils to bring and more of the first aid kind of questions about how to deal with preventing parasites and malaria and some of those things. That's going to be on tomorrow's episode. The other thing that I put in this handy dandy thing is a pair of socks, because when you're on an airplane, if you're wearing flip-flops or something, which is kind of nice that you can get your shoes on and off to quickly go to the restroom or whatever, but it's nice to have a pair of socks so that you can keep your feet warm, okay? And then the other thing in my little emergency area is some really yummy chocolate. Just a secret stash. Sometimes when you're on an airplane and you're just tired of the airplane food, it's nice to give yourself a little treat. And then, of course, an eye mask. The last flight that we were on, coming home from Italy, we were in a part of the plane where they use like electronic blinds to close, and they were broken. So the shades didn't close. And so I learned I really need to always travel with a face mask so that you can get the sleep if you need to, okay? And then also up in the front zippy pocket, I always have whatever favorite book that I'm bringing to read. I am an actual, I like a paper book in my hands. And so this is the one I'm excited to bring if anybody's read it. My dad said it was really good, so I'm taking his advice. And it's a really long one, so probably this is the only book I'll need to take with me for my trip. And then also I just recently bought an updated fanny pack. I'm bringing the fanny pack back, y'all, okay? I got this one because it's sleek, it's discreet. The other fanny pack that I use for fun is like fluorescent, and it's from the 80s, and it says party, and I just thought maybe I shouldn't wear something that draws so much attention. So I just got a little hip bag, and this might be the purse that I kind of opt for when I'm in Madagascar, just to have like the necessities and throw a few oils in there and my money. Of course, when you're traveling around, you don't want to have your passport on you. You know, if you're at a hotel, just put the passport in a lockbox in the hotel room. And then on the inside, I told you there's so much stuff that I wanted to share, but I feel like this is the stuff that people ask me all the time. So hopefully this is interesting and helpful. Okay, so on the inside, I carry my oil bag. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you more about what's in this oil bag that are like my must-have oils to take with me. And then also tablet, my Bose noise canceling headphones. This was my big Christmas present last year. I've come to realize this was like an amazing investment. And the way that they come now are wireless, but then they also have a cord that can connect in so that you can plug it in when you're on an airplane and you have that screen. If you're on an international flight, you usually always have the screen right in front of you so you can watch all their movies and stuff. But this, I've learned, is the style I love. I just turned on the noise canceling thing, and it's amazing how much noise it really drowns out. You never realize how loud it is on an airplane until you have those on and you take them off. You're like, oh my gosh, it's so loud. So my kids all have their own. They don't have these expensive ones, but they have the big headphones that they use to wear that are more comfortable for them. The earbuds one, my husband likes those, but they end up making my ears really sore after too long. So the other thing, I try to keep it simple, what I keep in my carry-on, again, because I don't want it to weigh too much. But I have my favorite travel pillow. I love this. And this one came with a blanket. So I have my blankie and my pillow that I travel with. And for me, this makes a world of difference. Some people like those neck pillows. Those don't work very well for me, but I love if I can have a window seat and I can just put my head like this. And it is my magic way of being able to get sleep. Plus the Serenity soft gels, which I'm going to tell you more about tomorrow. And then I make sure everybody has a water bottle. I just feel like they don't give you enough water that you need on an airplane, and I hate waiting to ask for a flight attendant. And so I make sure we all have our own water bottles that we can refill and keep yourself hydrated. That's one of the best ways to fight off jet lag. And then the last thing from my carry-on that I just wanted to show you is what I'm wearing, because that's another question I get all the time. So I just have like these drawstring pants that honestly feel like pajamas, but they look really cute on. So that's my goal. I don't want to be traveling looking like I'm wearing my pajamas, but I want to feel like I'm wearing my pajamas. Do you know what I mean? And so find something that is comfortable, that you still feel like, you know, classy enough in. And then I always make sure I have a layer over top. So some kind of a sweatshirt. This is a cute little thing that I wear that keeps me really warm. And I always have, this is like my go-to item for airplanes because it rolls up really, really small and doesn't weigh much. And so I carry that on. Okay, so that is for my carry-on. And then I wanted to show you, I found the coolest bags for my kids. And this was a real conundrum for us because we travel a lot as a family, and it seems like my kids, so we usually always have them pack in their backpacks, and we say, like, make sure you pack only what you need and what you want to be carrying because you're in charge and responsible for your backpack. But how many of you found that it's like, oh my gosh, now we're walking around the airport with 3 kids' backpacks and trying to hold one of them, and it's just a hot mess, literally, like we're sweating and it's a hot mess. So I found these really cool, it's basically like, it's a simple roll-on, but it's the size of a backpack and it fits under the seats. So my kids, because we don't want stuff for my kids that have to go up above, because it's all their stuff that they want to play with on the airplane, right? Like their activities and their tablet and their snacks and stuff like that. So these are becoming popular. And I saw this first at Meijer, and it was $80. And I thought, oh, well, I better research to make sure I buy the right one because that's kind of expensive. And then I went to Costco and saw the exact same thing for $29. So I just snatched them up. I bought 3 of these for my kids. And again, it's a really, I don't know if you can see, so it rolls. This is the most brilliant thing about it, is that my kids are each going to have their own rolly bag, and this fits right under the seat in front of them. And so the thing that my kids are, what I've packed in here for them, well, actually, they have packed themselves, but cute little, you know, all their little journals and snacks, some of their handy dandy snacks. I think it's important to make sure you have your kid appropriate snacks that you like, because after a while they get tired of peanuts and pretzels, right? And then this is Emily's. So she has her little coloring book, her tablet, a couple of books. And again, I am really strict about what books they bring, that they don't weigh so much, because that's the stuff that ends up, like books, I feel like end up weighing a ton. So just the lightweight books, but the ones that they love to read over and over again. And then on the inside, check this out. How cute is this? This is Emily's favorite little doll, Willa, that she's bringing with her. And one Lovey, and I'll tell you something else about that in a second. And then it looks like Willa's little bag of change of clothes, and Willa's backpack, Willa's hair products. That is what Emily picked, because you know what? That's what's going to keep Emily busy, and it makes her feel like she has her favorite toys with her while we're gone for the month, okay? And then looks like she has a bag with more markers and crayons in there. And that's it. And then on the side, this is her water bottle. So again, like I make sure my kids, we always take them empty to the airport, so you don't have to go through the hassle of like, oh shoot, we have to empty them out and go back through security again. And by the way, we spent the extra time and energy and money to get ourselves TSA pre-checked. Now that doesn't help internationally, but it does help if you're flying a lot and you live in the United States here. It's really nice. So I just wanted to also tell you on the kids' loveys. My kids are young. They still they sleep best when they have their little blankies and favorite stuffed animals. But we've learned over the course of time that they cannot travel with their most favorite thing. They cannot bring their most favorite blankie and their most favorite stuffed animals, okay? Because there's too much risk of them getting lost. So my kids now have their favorite backup ones that they like to bring. And so on a trip like this, they can bring one stuffed animal and one of their little blankets that'll serve for their blanket on the airplane that'll cover them up and keep them warm. Okay, so I see some questions. Where did you get that pillow? I think I actually got it in an airport a couple of years ago that I found it, and I was like, this looks like my dream pillow. But let me, if there's time, I can probably add in the comments later what the brand is, so you could order that. I just have a few other quick notes, and then we're going to wrap up this episode because this is going kind of long. What about shoes? I feel like shoes is one of those tricky things that can take up so much extra weight and space in your suitcase. And it's kind of tricky because you're like, I need the right shoes to go along with what we're doing. So what we're planning on is we're bringing flip-flops for everyone, and then some kind of activity shoe. So for me, I love Chacos. These are actually my Chacos that I bought back in the year 2001, and they still look new-ish. I mean, you can tell I wear them. I use them all the time. But these were worth the investment. It's like $100, and it's the best $100 you could ever spend, in my opinion. At least for an adult, once your feet have stopped growing, right? Okay, and then for my kids, we are a big fan of Keens. So these are Emily's, these are Madeline's, and I just make sure they try them all on so that they fit comfortably. They can run a lap around the neighborhood, and if it fits comfortable, then we're good to go. And I usually get those at the local resale shop, like the consignment shop or the thrift store, because these are the kind of things that you can find there, and they're in really great shape still. So I always check there first if I can get that kind of stuff in, so we're not spending so much money on those shoes that the kids are going through quickly. And okay, I feel like I got through all of my most important bullet points on here. The other thing that takes up a lot of weight that I'll just mention is toiletry items. And when you're traveling for a month, that's the thing where you're like, oh my gosh, do I need to bring full size of everything? But just keep in mind that wherever you travel, most likely you can buy lotion, you can buy a lot of those things there. But what I would say are think of the things that are your non-negotiables, the things that are the most important to you that you might not be able to buy in that country. For example, we're really, really picky about the sunscreen that we wear. We make sure it's non-toxic, none of the chemicals. And so we're stocking up on our favorite sunscreens because we know we absolutely won't be able to order it or buy it there. And the same with some of our bug spray and stuff. And I'm going to talk about that on tomorrow's episode. So if you're curious to hear more about our favorite sunscreens and what we're using to prevent bugs, in addition to doTERRA stuff, and what we're doing, what I'm making sure we take with us for all of the first aid things, and like the question about vaccinations again, I'm going to get to that tomorrow. So anyhow, woo, that was a mouthful. There's still some things I'm like, oh my gosh, I have my whole bag of little extra items. I think I better mention this quick because I'm not going to put this in tomorrow's episode. These for us are the other non-negotiable must-haves that you got to figure out where to fit it in. First of all, we always travel with a diffuser. I'll talk more about this tomorrow, why that's going to help us for first aid stuff. Also, camera. You got to figure out, this is what I have my GoPro, all of my GoPro little add-ons and bits and pieces. And that is really important just because I want to document this. And this is my favorite camera. And for sure for this trip, I really want to take my nice camera. So again, you got to kind of figure out where you're going to pack that, how that's going to fit. And then the adapter plugs, you need to figure out where you're traveling internationally, and you have to make sure you have the right adapter plugs. And now we have a lot of things to plug in. We have a lot of things that need recharged, like our cameras that we use on our phones, right? So that, and then the other main non-negotiable, in my opinion, for me, is just making sure you have a journal, someplace that you can write the stuff down, these adventures, the little things that are happening that you don't want to forget. And this is a journal that my friend Joanna gave to me at Christmas, and I love it. It's called the 5-Minute Journal. And if that is interesting to you, then look it up. But I feel like it's a really great way to just document the important nuggets that happen on that day so we don't forget. And then the other things that we're bringing are just some special little donations that we're going to give away to the kids, some stuff that we can use to interact with the kids at the school. So I think we're going to use our extra 5th suitcase for some of those little things like lollipops. And this is a really cool game that collapses down flat to absolutely nothing. It's really lightweight. We're going to get some beach balls, coloring books, jump ropes, things like that we can bring. And just, it's a whole nother language for my kids. So I'm just trying to create ways for my kids to be able to interact with the children there and cross that language barrier and start establishing those friendships. So I think whatever tools that we can bring to help in that way are going to be really important. So, okay, I love you all. Thank you for all of you that joined live. I hope this was interesting, and I'll be back tomorrow for episode 4.